I just wanted to make a quick video going over anything you might need to know for repairs or maintenance over the trailer. So up here you got your mini split, and I would always make sure that you have a cover over it when you're driving down the road, because the fan in there will catch wind and spin really fast. I don't know if that'll end up causing damage or something, but I always just throw this cover on it before I drive. Here's your electrical hookup. It's a twist lock. If you ever need like shore power, hook up a generator, you can do that. This we just use to put a spare tire on there. Then you have some storage, a little bit of storage in the back here. This is for some lights around the bed. It goes up and connects to a smart switch there that responds to like these switches. And then you have your outside light here, and that goes to here, which is the smart switch, so you can control it from your phone. You can set that on a timer to come up at night. That's what we used if we were camping in like a city and we had the ramp closed. You could turn that light on and it feels like the sun's coming up even if the door's closed. Or it makes a really good work light at night, just lights up this whole area. This is the gas tank for the diesel heater, so it's just diesel goes in there and runs the diesel heater. And then you got your water fill here. You just throw a hose in there or whatever, and it's gravity fill. Then over here you have a spigot. You turn this on, water comes out. You can hook up a hose, wash stuff off, whatever. You can also fill the water tank this way by hooking up a hose here, and then there's some switches I'll show you inside that you got to turn so water goes into the tank. This is the main drain for the water. You have the pipes under here, like the main drain coming from the shower over there, and then the sink comes down from there. And this will fill up, and it's about 5 gallons of water, so it'll hold a little bit of gray water. And then this is your shutoff valve. You can have it closed or open, and the water just comes out. Or if you want to keep it shut, it's shut like that. So over there I have a clean out. If you want to open that, you need to like clean out the pipes for whatever reason. That's a nice big clean out. Then go inside and look at a few things. This is the door code thing. You can change that to whatever you want, and then have the keys for it too. I'll come in here. We have the lights. So these lights work. You have top one is your main ceiling lights, the bright ones, and the second one controls the cabinet lights. So on and off. And your third one is your bed lights, which are these wall lights that are multicolored on both sides. The fourth one is the fairy lights on the ceiling. So you can turn those on and off like little sparkly lights. And then the fifth one down here turns on your shower exhaust fan. And then this is if you want to turn everything on or everything off. So same thing on this side. You have another remote, does all the same things. That's fifth one. That's for your exhaust fan right there in the shower. Turns that on. As far as the shower goes, I don't really need to explain anything. You got your handle thing, and then your valves, and then this mirror changes colors. And then you can also dim it by holding it, and that dims it, and then hold it again to brighten it back up, or you just tap it to change the temperature. The shower curtain has magnets on it that you can attach to help keep it shut when you're taking a shower. So it's kind of nice like that. Then I'll go over the toilet real quick. So the toilet's literally just like a cassette toilet. This is the flush button. It's an automatic flush. I think the water tank's empty right now, and that's where you fill water for the flush. So you just put water in there, hit the button, it flushes water, and then That's to open and then shut the valve in there so it goes down into the holding tank. And then if you want to dump it, there is a lever here that you pull, and then this whole top comes off, and then this is your tank. So you can carry that into any public restroom or porta potty or whatever, and then you can turn this, unscrew that, and then you just dump it. And then this is the pressure relief, so when you're dumping it, you just push that and it lets the pressure come out. Then you just put it back, and then set that and push it down until it clicks. Good to go. If you ever have issues with the shower, you can get to the shower valve back here. You can take the front plate off as well and get to it that way. This is also where I have, so these are the front and inside security cameras. That's where they're plugged in. So you have one that runs down, goes out to the front, and the other one comes over here for your interior security camera. This is your remote control for your mini split air conditioning and heating. So you can download the app, it's Celio app, and you can monitor the temperature from your phone and change it. Here's your door lock from the inside. Then it has key lock as well. Fridge, pretty straightforward. You got your sink over here. This is your fresh water dispenser. That goes down to a tank under here. So you just get like a 5-gallon thing like that. You can fill it up wherever. And that's like what we use for fresh drinking water. And then in here you got your water heater. So this is how you turn it on. You'll turn this valve all the way around. That red light means it's heating up. Probably takes, I don't know, 15-20 minutes to heat up. And then it'll turn off and then just come on when it needs to keep temperature. So this is your sink main drain. It goes down to this pipe that goes out to the underneath. If you need to clean that out, you can detach it here, or you can take the tape off here and pull this up and then get that off as well. That back there is your accumulator. It helps maintain pressure in the lines while the water pump is on. And then behind here you have, let me see if I can get a flash on. There. So this top one is your water pump, and this bottom one is your water heater. So this you need to get to sometimes to turn your water pump off. If you run out of water, it'll make a really loud whirring sound, and that means you're out of water. So you just need to come in here and unplug that. That way the pump doesn't break by trying to push air through it. So if you ever run out of water and you hear that loud sound, it's the water pump, which is under here. Here's the water pump back there. So if you ever hear that, just unplug the water pump until you get more water in the tank, and that should be fine. So these are the valves I was talking about when you want to fill the tank with a hose hooked up to that. Then you can do it that way instead of the gravity fill. The gravity fill, you just flow through this pipe into the water tank. But if you want to fill it and keep a hose hooked up, you can do that as well, and then just turn off your water pump or unplug it if you have a pressurized hose hooked up on the outside. So you'll come in here and you have one switch here and then one switch here. This switch you'll turn like that, and now no water will go into your water tank. So if you don't want to fill up the water tank, you want to keep it empty, but you still want to have pressurized water coming in from the outside, you got to turn that one off, and then you'll be good to go. Now, if you want to fill the water tank, you'll keep that one on, and then you'll unplug, make sure your water pump is unplugged, and then you'll come in here and then you'll turn this on. If you don't unplug your water pump, it'll just shoot water around in a circle, if that makes sense. So you gotta make sure your water pump's off. But you turn that on and then the hose will come in and fill the water tank. So you can fill your water tank that way as well. So that's pretty much everything with that. You have your sink shutoffs here and here for yours. That's for your sink faucet. So if you ever need to shut those off. Then on this side, we'll go over the electrical system real quick. You got your breakers. I'll label these so you know which is which. I'll just write like up here or whatever. So you got your breakers. One's for your AC right here. So that's just the air conditioner, like the mini split. So that turns that on and off. And the other ones, I'll have to figure out what they do, I forget, and then I'll label them for you. So this is your main inverter. It's a 3000 watt EG4 inverter. So that takes all your solar power and puts it into the batteries. So you have one battery right here and then another battery under this shelf. So your shutoff for this battery is right here. If you need to shut that off, you turn that off. And then this is the shutoff for the battery under here. So you have two separate shutoffs. So you have to have both off if you want all the power to be cut. And this is your refrigerator, where your refrigerator plugs in if you need to unplug that. So that's where we have the refrigerator plugged in. So that's on now. This is an exhaust fan. If it gets really hot out and it's hot in the trailer, you can turn that switch on right there and then it pulls air out the side. Just makes it a little cool in here so it doesn't overheat. Oh, there's one more thing in here. That's your 12 volt for the diesel heater, because the diesel heater runs on 12 volts and there's a 48 volt battery, so it converts 48 volts to 12 volts and then sends it to the diesel heater. So if you ever have an issue with that, you could check this. I mean, it shouldn't really ever go bad, but if you're having trouble, you could always check that. So over here is the main control for the diesel heater. You just hit the power button. Now, what I like to do when I have this running, I have it set to 25 and it should remember that, but I usually set it around 25. I've had issues where if you go all the way to max heat, it'll like overheat real quick before it can start up and it'll shut off. So I usually like keeping it like in the middle. Let me turn the light off so you can see it a little better. So I usually keep it down around 25 while it's starting up. That way it starts up easier. And then you can turn it up after that if you want it to be hotter, but it'll get real nice and toasty in here. There's also a remote. So you have a remote for some lights in here. This one is for the fairy lights on the ceiling. And to get it to work, you actually have to point it at the receiver, which is in here. So your receiver is this right here for the fairy lights. So that has a button on it you can press, and that'll change the modes. There's like a bunch of modes. Or you can just point the remote at that and then change it modes on here. And then there's also an app that you can do it on your phone. So same thing with these. These are for the bed lights. So you can come over to these bed lights. You have to point it up because the receiver's like up hiding there. So you just have to like have it on the wall, and then you can press whatever color you want, and then it'll change the colors. That's just another remote. I think they both work for either side, but for this side you have to come right here and point it up, and then this side is on this side, and you point it up and then you can change the color. Blue, red. So that's an option. Yeah, the diesel heater just kicked on. So this is a remote for the diesel heater. So it's got power, plus or minus, and then mode change. So there's two different modes on there. There's a bunch of settings. It's a Vevor, V-E-V-O-R, I believe. So you could look up like a manual for it, but it's basically just two modes. One is set temperature, and then the other mode is just constantly on at whatever temperature you have it set to, and it never shuts off. So I always keep it on this mode. That way it doesn't get too crazy hot. I'm gonna turn that off. So I think that's pretty much it. This TV's on a swivel mount. You can pull it out, push it up and down, so you can get it out of the way if you want to bring the bed down. The bed just works with the 4 pins. Pull it out and put it in any of the different holes. If you want to set it at a different level, you can just get like a drill bit and drill different holes. So you can set it at whatever level. I have a couple drilled for different levels. This is how low it goes. So you can't really get it lower than that because the way the spring is tensioned for the weight of the bed. You could potentially buy a different weighted spring. They have garage door springs. I believe there's a 50-pound spring. So you could go get a smaller spring and then you could bring it down more if you wanted to do it that way. But there's also, this is the internet. You'll hook up if you have any kind of home internet like Verizon, or we use T-Mobile. This is your hookup, so you just hook that up to your internet modem, and that takes the antenna outside the trailer and gets you better signal, because without that, especially if the ramp door is closed, you're not going to get any signal in here. This is just the table. You can put it on here and swivels around. You can tighten it or loosen it with these levers. Pretty easy to use. The blinds on the door, they're magnetic, so there's like a little magnetic thing. You can push it down and the blinds open, or you can bring it down and you just push it up a little bit and that brings it open like that, or up or down like that. Now sometimes these things can pop off. They're hard to do it, but sometimes it might pop off, but it's just a magnet, so you literally just push it back in and then it goes right back on. So same thing for that side. And I think that's about it. Yeah, everything. So all the water tanks under here as well. And we use this thing. You can push it, and we use it as a step to get up on the bed. Makes it a little easier. The couch pulls out. So it's got legs on Velcro. So when you pull this out, you actually have to lift this pillow up, and then so you just lift it up and put it on top of this cushion, and then you can pull this out, and then these legs underneath just fold down like that. They're on Velcro. So fold down the leg when it's on Velcro, and then you have an extended couch now. So if you have a tall person, you can use that as an extension, and then they can throw their legs there and they could potentially sleep here, or a short person can sleep pretty comfortably right there. When you're putting it down, there's a few things you want to keep in mind. These legs have to be attached to the Velcro, otherwise, so you just push it up until it's the Velcro. If you try to put it down, and just like if it's half folded, it'll get stuck and it'll be a pain to get it open. So just make sure, push them up till they're attached to the Velcro. It's like that, and then the last one up, and then it'll go down flat. And then I like to, you don't have to do this, but I don't really like how the couch looks like that, so we pull this forward so it's flat, and then we push this cushion back. But you do have to lift that cushion so it can scoot back when this one comes up, if that makes sense. But I believe that is everything. And you can always message me if you have any questions. I can help you having issues with anything or trying to change anything. I'll show you. The diesel heater is underneath the couch right here, and the heat comes out of this pipe right here, and it just kind of comes out right there. And then the water tank is under there as well. And then you do have an access panel under the couch right here. It says loose. You can lift that up, and then let's see if I can get the light back on. You can get in there. So that's your overfill. If the water tank gets too full, it'll go out that tube and drip out the bottom. That way it doesn't like burst or anything. And then this is your main feed into there. So if you ever need to get in there and reattach stuff, you can do that from here. Alright, and I believe that's it.